Orange County School Board's regularly scheduled meeting for this Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have almost a packed chambers, and it feels wonderful to see all these, a lot of smiling faces and an awful lot of people here we are proud of and excited to recognize. We have all board members participating in person, and I'm looking to make sure they're all at the dais, I believe so. I want to remind the public and remind the board that board members will not be participating in outside electronics or digital communication during the meeting so that we can focus our attention entirely on the business before the board and on recognizing you. To my fellow board members, district staff, and members of the public, when speaking into the microphone, please make sure it's turned on and speak directly into it so that our YouTube and Orange TV viewers can hear you clearly. And now we will begin with a moment of silence, and then I'll invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And now for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and again, thank you for joining us this evening. We have many remarkable recognitions to share with you tonight. First, we have a very special one for the school board and OCPS. 13 years ago, former board member Rick Roach championed an idea that turned out to be a tremendous incubator for community involvement. The Leadership Orange program, developed by our Public Relations Department, has given more than 320 citizens a chance to experience firsthand what it takes to educate nearly 209,000 students every day. For our communities and within multiple business circles, that means we have created informed advocates on the important subject of public education in Central Florida. The 26 members of this year's leadership class came from all over the district, representing many unique interests and diverse backgrounds and identities. For the past 8 months, class members have spent one day each month visiting elementary, middle, and high schools, the West Orange campus of Orange Technical College, and even Pine Hills Transportation Center. They learned everything that they could about our building program, school budgeting, teaching and learning, community engagement, exceptional student education, and operations, which included getting behind the wheels of a school bus. And just to put your mind at ease, no, there were no children in those buses. This evening, their journey ends, but certainly not their involvement with the school district. As some of the most knowledgeable citizens on the subject of public education in Orange County, I hope we hear from them often, participating in our efforts to be one of the top school districts in the nation. Former Leadership Orange members have participated in selection committees for our Stellar Awards and Hall of Fame, and 2 of our current school board members, Member Gallo and Member Castor-Dental, are former Leadership Orange members. So maybe one of the 26 we're honoring tonight will be sitting up here in the not too distant future. Throughout the program, you've learned many things that can help you connect Orange County Public Schools to the community. And through your leadership and influence, you can make a difference in any number of schools for hundreds and even thousands of our students. Some of the feedback you've given us is very telling. Here are just a few excerpts from comments you've shared over the course of the year. I found this program to be one that I would recommend to so many other people. Just knowing the depth of the district, the daily monumental decisions that have to be made, the inner workings, it's amazing. I feel like a true ambassador of OCPS now. Well, you are. Thank you for taking an interest in and spending the time to be in our Leadership Orange class. I'm impressed by your commitment, and I hope you will refer others to participate in future classes. I would also like to thank the dozens of OCPS leaders and staff who shared your expertise and your experience with our class, so that they might understand the complex undertaking that you all have, and that they might also see the passion that the leaders here in Orange County Public Schools, from the top to the bottom, from our teachers to our superintendent to our bus drivers and to everybody else that works here in Orange County, there is so much passion and dedication and commitment to our students. It is frankly breathtaking and inspiring. So we will now begin our graduation commencement ceremony, and I will turn it over to OCPS Public Relations Director Jason Smith.
Thank you, Chair Jacobs. I'll ask all of the board members to come down to stand in front of the chair so that you can have an opportunity to shake hands with all of the graduates. As we call everybody up, while you're coming down, I'll just say that this is one of the most fun aspects of my job. This class has been a great class. It's always rewarding to have community members come in and for us to be able to share what it is that we do. And I thank you all. One of the things that the 8 days that you've given to be part of this program, we realize that your normal life and your normal jobs don't go away while you're here doing that. So it is, we're definitely appreciative of the fact that you've given that time to come and learn about us. So with that, I will start by calling your names, and you're going to come up and you'll shake hands and you'll get your diploma on the other side. So number 1 for this class is Tijana and Cora Brown. Tajana. Juliet Childs. Miriam Clark. James Dean. Taji, if you will stand behind, and we'll do a group shot at the end. So. Demaria. Oh, you can't hear me? Okay. Karen DePriest. Carol Edie Langford. Nicole Euler. Lindsay Fogarty. Judy Hayes. Chad Jones. Leslie and Jones. Susan Kasaric. Ricky Lee. Siobhan Miller. Tony Shamani. I think he's out of order. Tony is a little out of order. Michelle Ramos. Karen Revels. Buchtenwald. Lynette Schempf. Faye Tudlaska. And last but not least, Nancy Welch, OCPS Teacher of the Year.
You got to be there. I don't know how helpful that was, but may or may not be helpful.
Whoa. Don't leave quite yet. Vice Chair wants to say something.
Thank you.
Lock the doors.
We're never going to let you leave. No, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to congratulate everyone who was part of Leadership Orange again. I was part of it. Karen and I both did it. Remember, Castor Dental, I was in the very first class. So the evolution of being in that very first inaugural class to what it's transformed today is far different. We learned like a lot of things along the way, and it's even better than it was that first year, if possible. They made it for a longer period of time. Back when I did it was like 9 to 12. Our name tags were so tiny that you couldn't read my name. And I'm still bitter about that because y'all got the really nice name tags. And it was the first year, so it was a who's who of like Orange County. There were some heavy hitters in this room, and then there was me. And I remember thinking, boy, if someone could just take a picture of me sitting at this table with all these people, they'd really think I was something. And I was a PTA mom. Thank you for all the PTA that participated this year. We're so thankful for you. And I just learned so much. And I was really the biggest cheerleader for OCPS out in the East because of the knowledge that it brought me. So I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for your time commitment. Thank you for all that you do for OCPS. And congratulations.
Thank you. And you still can't leave yet. But just for the record, you are always someone, and everyone is someone. Yes. So let's hear from Member Gould.
So I also wanted to extend my congratulations, but we were, Member Bird and I were kind of at the end when there was a backup with the pictures. So we were asking people what they got out of the program and what their favorite things were. And it was across the board. So to hear that, because usually when I ask people that, it's always the bus. Now we got the bus for sure, but we got Orange Technical College a whole bunch of times, the ESE program, learning about our infrastructure, how hard it is to get a calendar together. You really get us. So thank you for really getting what the school system is doing and trying to do to make this a much better place and a much better future for our students. So thank you for participating, and thank you for spreading the word about your Orange County Public Schools.
Thank you. All right, now you're free to leave if you want to. All right, our next recognition. Let me make sure I'm on the right page here because we have a number of folks we're recognizing. Our next recognition, I'm honored to recognize a real-life superhero. I'm not kidding about this. You may want to stay for another minute. Rosemont Elementary fourth grade student Jake Salas King, 4 weeks ago, fourth grader Kian Calvin Burton choked on a piece of candy while in class. His teacher, Alethea Dixon, had difficulty clearing Kian's airway. While she, and if I am saying these names incorrectly, when you have a chance, you're going to correct me publicly. While she called for assistance, Jake quickly jumped into action and helped his classmate by using the Heimlich maneuver to dislodge the piece of candy that was stuck in his classmate's throat. Thankfully, Kian is feeling much better and is with us tonight. Jake, thank you for your quick thinking and courage you displayed in assisting your classmate. Your heroism reflects well on you, your family, the entire district, and it's an example for all of us that if you just take the time to get certified, you too can save a life. So take that seriously. Let this fourth grader inspire you to do what some of us don't do, and that's take that little extra time. And now I want to call on, where's the principal? Okay. Are you coming up to say anything? You are now. Well, we need them to stand. We need them to come forward.
That's true.
I don't want to see him just stand. I want to see him up here. We want to say hello. Take the mic, and I need to know correctly how to say his name.
This is Jake Salas King. He's a fourth grader. He's in Miss Dixon's class. This is Miss Dixon
come on
coming right
up.
here. Yes. There's Miss Dixon. Okay. This is Cayenne.
And I said it wrong the whole time,
That's okay.
Cayenne, and I am so sorry. Forgive
No
me.
worries. And so basically, Miss Dixon saw that our friend was in trouble. She went to the phone, or she tried to assist. She saw it was not working, so she ran to the phone, called the front office, got assistance, and Jake jumped into action while she was calling for help, and came and provided support to his friend, and actually saved his life. Miss Dixon was very, very afraid. Would you say concerned? What? Tell him.
I didn't want that stain to be at our school or even in that moment. I didn't want to witness that. And I was like, I'm trying everything and it's not coming out. But Jake said, when I went to the phone to call the front office, Jake said something told him to go and help this boy and do what he had seen me doing. Jake is also a kid who likes to do research. So he had some prior knowledge. So he made that connection. And thank God. When Jake said something told him to go, this girl beside him said, that wasn't something, that was God. So we want to thank God that Cayenne's life was spared, because in a twinkling of an eye, things can change. In one moment, we could have had another story, but thankfully, we had a happy ending.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jay, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Gentlemen,
Or
do you have
Cayenne?
anything you'd like to say?
Cayenne,
Don't
you want to
have
say
to.
anything about that moment? How did you feel at that moment? And where was it stuck? Tell our community, our village,
It was stuck like flat.
across.
And
And
I felt like it wasn't gonna come out, so that's why I was jumping to warn somebody.
Yay. Good move.
yes, everybody was wondering, why is Cayenne jumping around? What's wrong with him? But I saw something was not right. But again, that was God himself, because on that day, Jake was not supposed to come to school. Right, Mom? It was 3 times he said, I don't want to go. Mom woke him up. You got to go.
Oh, my God.
Mom had to do something for her younger daughter. She called her friend, the community. We're talking about the village. The friend said, I can't go. I'm not even going. My daughter is sick. I'm not going. She said, you have to go. So I'm talking about when your steps are ordered.
Is this
Because
Mom?
I believe that was his role for that day.
Is it your mom?
Yes.
Come on up here.
Come on up.
Come on up here. Mom, we are so proud of you.
Thank you.
We know he wouldn't have had the tools if it wasn't for you.
If she didn't push him to come to school.
And Cayenne, great move, because a lot of people, what they do is they get embarrassed and they run like to the bathroom, thinking maybe they can cough it out, and they're in the bathroom and nobody knows they're choking. So you did the right thing by staying where you were and getting attention. That was really important. And Ms. Dixon, you calling for help. That's the other thing they teach you. The first thing you do is call out for help, and that between the 3 of you, knowing what to do and doing your role, we have a young man here to celebrate.
The first thing I did was to, I don't know, Holy Spirit told me, do it. I didn't even know this boy was choking. I just knew something wasn't right. So the first thing I did was to start the Heimlich. And it wasn't working for me. That's when I went to the phone. But this young man here, Jake Salas King, remember that name? And remember Kyan Burton, they're both going to be something special, I believe, especially after this event. And I'm just grateful. Every time I think about it, I get goosebumps. And the students, we've all been drawn closer as a class and as a Rosemont community. It's just been quite amazing. And I'm just happy, Jake, that you were able to step in and to help Kyan the way you did. Thank you so much. I know Tara is here too. Kyan's mom is here. I know you're very grateful.
Where's Kyan's mom?
She's going to have a baby coming up.
Oh, congratulations.
She's over there.
Oh, congratulations. Yes. All right, we have a couple of school board members before you sit down that want to say something. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations. That must have been very scary for you. Was it scary? And you still managed to get someone's attention. I'm so proud of you two boys. You both of you represent all that is good within our youth and all that is good within us. And so I just wanted to give you a kudos and thank you for being so self-aware and so quick on your feet. Many adults wouldn't be able to react in such a quick manner for fear of maybe hurting or doing something wrong, and you didn't. You just jumped right in. So I'm just so proud of both of you. Both of you contributed. So good job. Thank you.
And Member Ferrant.
I too just wanted to say thank you, and I'm so proud, especially to you, Jake, just for listening to that voice, because a lot of times we hear that voice and we say, I don't want to listen to that. But don't ever forget to listen to that voice, even when you're an adult. You listen, and I'm so proud of you for jumping up, for saving a life. And sometimes we think that our little actions aren't going to do much, but it shows that you truly are a hero, that you jumped up and you were able to save this amazing young man's life. Kyan gets to witness his sibling being born, and we get so many more years. And so I'm so proud of you, a teacher, for jumping up and just being a support in your classroom and bringing the class together and as like a family. What an amazing school, amazing class. So proud of you, all of you.
And Member Salamanca.
Yeah, I echo what you heard here today. That little voice in your head that sometimes gets you in trouble because you move too quickly, and you're telling slow things down. In times like those, that voice makes you incredibly powerful. And part of growing up is listening to that voice that's telling you to move quickly and everything's super important and urgent, and then deciding when it's really, really important, and when other times it's like, I can wait. But you two are on a great path to listening to that voice and deciding when it makes sense. And I'm just so proud of you. And we're so lucky to have you in our schools, and you're lucky to have each other and this teacher and these parents, and just in general, this is your community, and we're here to take care of you and make sure that you're safe as well. But you're a part of this community as well, and you contribute as being each other's support and help as well. So really love to see it.
My motto is, it takes the whole village, and it will always continue to be my motto. And another great word that I like as well, which applies to the whole village, is Ubuntu. Everybody say Ubuntu. Ubuntu. I am because we are. You say it.
I am because we are. Okay, we want to get all of you all up here for a picture, and if Kyan's mom can join us, would you join us for a picture?
And I've got my two APs.
And do we have any siblings?
My two APs.
And dad, if we have dads?
APs.
Siblings.
And the APs?
Yes.
We have the siblings too.
The whole village.
The whole
The whole
village.
village.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Just cuteness overload.
You're a hero. the center. You're a hero, you're a hero. Teachers are heroes. You are very small. Good. Hold on. Good, good, good. Look amazing. Hold on a second. Look happy, and on 3. Good. 1, 2, and 3. Excellent posing, small people. Hold on a second. Small people. Right up there. Oh my God. Yeah, hold that. Arms around each other.
Aww, the cuteness, the cuteness. It's cuteness overload. Oh, you steal my heart. Cars. Little. Yeah. Oh, that's so much fun. Is the superintendent out there? No, she's not. What happened?
Yeah,
Where is the superintendent? Great job.
Wow. All right. Didn't you wish you could start every meeting that way?
Yes.
Okay, one last reminder. If you haven't been trained in CPR, take a lesson from these kids. Also, OCPS it's perfect to appreciate our nurses today and all that they do for our students. We're looking forward to celebrating them during National School Nurse Day tomorrow. This proclamation is for this very special day and will be read after our student recognitions this evening. Before we read the proclamation, I'd like to acknowledge Ivy Lanes Elementary's 3rd grade through 5th grade students who had the privilege to learn nursing skills at an unusually young age during an 8-week program provided by the Central Florida Black Nurses Association of Orlando, an organization I'm very familiar with and very, very proud of. I want to say that again, 3rd grade through 5th grade students learning nursing skills. See, isn't that so cool? CFBNA, and you can figure it out, that stands for Central Florida Black Nurses Association. Nurse Judith Clark and other nursing instructors taught the students CPR, right on target, and additional life-saving techniques. The course also provided the school children with a chance to receive hands-on medical training while learning real-world science. I'd like to invite Ivy Lane Elementary Principal, Gorsha Galbraith, to the podium to tell us more about this amazing nursing program and these young nursing students.
Ms. Anderson. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Jacobs, Ms. Felder, Board Member Felder, and Dr. Vasquez, and all board members. Thank you for having us. I need my amazing assistant principal to come up, because as Ms. Dixon shared from Rosemont, we cannot do this work alone. So this is Ms. Anderson, my amazing assistant principal. And over there is Ms. Irvin, our parent involvement coordinator. So I'll be brief. When I got to the Ivy Lane, where smart is cool and a place of excellence, in the summer, Ms. Anderson said, "Hey, Ms. Galbraith, we have some nurses that want to come volunteer and work with our kids." I'm like, okay, because I say yes a lot, especially if it has to do with the kids. I almost always say yes. So the previous year, we had some donations from the Black Nurses Association, but this year they wanted to go a little further, and because of the shortage based on the pandemic, you know, they wanted to get kids more involved. So we had an 8-week program, as you shared before, during their voluntary time. So hi, parents. Thank you for signing those permission slips. We have a lot of support. We're very blessed at Ivy Lane to have a lot of support from our families. So we had students from grades 3, 4, and 5 that volunteered for 8 weeks to go through the program. They learned about CPR, they learned about diabetes, nutrition, they learned how to help others, and we are looking at future nurses from the Mini Nurse Academy.
Yay!
So at Ivy Lane, we're big on servicing the whole child, right? And we're always working on providing diverse pathways, right, to lead our kids to success. Because we know that they are our future. We won't be this young forever. So we need future doctors, nurses, teachers, lawyers, etc. So we have this amazing opportunity that we would love to continue. The Black Nurses Association provided everything from resources to their uniforms, and you'll see them when they come up. They provided everything. All we had to do was provide a space and supervision. That was easy for me. So tonight I have the honor of Samaya, Quincy, Jocelyn, Zakiya, Jacob, Salali, Siri, Samala, Aviana, Delilah, Josiah, and Yuri. These are our 12 mini Nurse Academy participants. I want to publicly thank Ms. Irvin and the instructors that volunteer their time, their patience, and their expertise, and also to my boss, Mr. Bond, for allowing me to do whatever is best for kids on my campus. So thank you to everyone that supported and is pouring into our children.
Scrub.
Yes. You don't have to bind it. Just look fancy. I'm sitting in your ergonomic chair for a second.
They did it. I said, I get the jackets back so they can come and I need you to keep them so it won't be dirty. Yeah. They look so cute. Okay. Are we ready?
Look amazing first. Stay there, hold on. Now I'm going to block the television people because that's what they do. Stay there.
It's so fun.
Hang on. Whoa. Don't anybody move. Nobody move. Parents, how many parents do we have in the room with these kids? Oh, come on up here.
Bring the village.
Yes, bring the village. Yes, and siblings. Families. Siblings. Oh my God.
Find your child. Good. That's everybody, correct? Good. Look happy. Stay there. Look happy again. One more. Look amazing. Perfect.
Okay. Whoa. Nobody. Whoa. No. Guys. Whoa. Yes. Hang on. Believe it or not, we're not done. We're not done.
We're real not done.
Okay. We want to hear from Member Felder, who represents the school, and I think she has something else she wants to present. It's not a car, but it's good.
First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Schuler. She called me early one morning. She says, I need you to come over to Ivy Lane. I said, what are we doing? She said, Vicki, just come. I want you to meet the little nurses. I said, okay, nurses? I said, oh, okay. So I got there and I saw these children, little babies with little scrubs and little white jackets and stethoscopes and the blood and all, but it was really candy. But I mean, all of that stuff that nurses have, and just, I was just so elated. And you know, I felt so good about this district because the day before, there was a shooting a block over in Pine Hills. And the news covered that all day long, and it was an awful thing. But the next day, a block back, children were learning about nursing and medical things in Orange County. That didn't get covered, but that's okay. Because when these babies get older and the temptation or the suggestion comes, because it's going to come, they can look back at these pictures and see themselves and know, I will have license to sell pharmaceuticals. I'll have the right jacket and the stethoscope I will use to save maybe Big Mama or the lady down the street from a heart attack or dying. Let me tell you something. You live in my neighborhood in District 5 where the talent resides. I am so grateful for the principal, the Black Nurses Guild, and my sorority sister, my soror, Yvette Clark, and Black nurses and the AP that at Ivy Lane that you all thought are not robbery, to engage these children. I remember my first day of school at Eccleston, and now I'm 66. You will never forget this day. You will always remember this day. And I'm so thankful for this district, for the vision of our superintendent who wants children to learn at any cost. At any age. I'm just so grateful, and I just wanted to tell you guys that we love you. And don't you ever, ever forget this moment. Ever. Thank you so much. Now, wait, I have certificates very quickly. Yeah. Do I need to go? I need to go down. Yeah, let me go down. Okay, let me go down.
I'll go help her. I'll go help her. Thank you. Do you want us to do our Take your time.
Okay.
I got your phone.
You got my phone? Okay, good. All right, so for the grown people, quickly. Gorsha, the principal, I want to give you this. Yes, you're so welcome. Sarah Judith, Yvette Clark, I want to give you this.
Get in your phone.
And, okay, get in my phone. Okay. Sorry. Fine camera, that's it. And Denise Hardwick. Yes, thank you so much. Now for the little winners. Yes.
Where's the camera?
Where's this camera?
Where's it say camera?
Diva, there.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, right here. Jacob Fisher. Where's Jacob? Yes.
Hold on, look toward me. A little bit of smile. Good. We'll do that for each one.
Josiah Thornton.
Good, thank you.
Diary English.
All right.
Adiana T. Salani March. Did I say it right? Yes. Samalia Anderson.
All right.
Sorry, is that right? Siri. Okay, Siri Harris. Delilah Joseph. Congratulations. Samaya Hill. Quincy Bradley.
Look this way, run back, run back, run back. Yeah. You gotta look at me though, buddy.
Jocelyn Greenaway. Yes. And Makia Allen. Thank you all so much.
Oh wait, are we doing that whole food? Thank you. Are they trying to do a picture back here or no? I think we just we're moseying. That's what I was thinking, but look at the other two.
I will.
Are we doing a picture? Are we doing a picture? Or no?
We're going to do another one.
For your love and dedication.
All right, nurses. All right, this time, that's getting tighter. Get by your favorite school board member. Good call. Hold on, look amazing. Now this was your official rainstorm rain. So everybody else is gone except you, and you're in the middle. So all the other adults, thank you.
They know how to do all that stuff.
See ya. Getting closer, baby. Getting closer, quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're not finished. We are not finished. Okay, last but not least, certainly not least, I'd like to recognize University High Junior, no, did I miss? No, I don't think they showed up, I think. So we are recognizing University High Junior Andre Graves for receiving the Congressional Award Gold Medal. The Gold Medal is the highest congressional award a youth can receive. The accolade was established by Congress more than 40 years ago to recognize the initiative, service, and achievements of young people. The Congressional Award also provides opportunities for youth to unleash their potential by achieving personal goals focused on volunteerism, character development, and fitness. I'd like to invite Vice Chair Gallo to tell us about Andre's accomplishments and receiving the Congressional Award Gold Medal. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chair Jacobs. First, I want to say how proud I am of Andre for this huge accomplishment. I actually had to look up the requirements of what this entailed, and boy, it's so impressive. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Andre and what he had to do to get this very deserving honor. He had to work hard, and he spent countless time and energy putting into receiving the Congressional Award Gold Medal. In order to achieve this award, he had to complete requirements in 4 key areas, including voluntary public service, personal development, physical fitness, and exploration. For the past 2 years, that's a commitment, 2 years. Andre has completed nearly 500 volunteer public service hours, more than 250 hours of personal development, 200 hours of physical fitness, and explored Peru during a 2-week trip. I would like to thank University High's Magnet and Advanced Placement Coordinator, Wanda Alvarado, and biology teacher Linder Houston Injadi for guiding and helping Andre achieve this amazing accomplishment. They couldn't be here this evening, but I wanted to recognize them for all they have done to encourage Andre. Andre will be presented with an award during the 2023 Congressional Award Gold Medal Summit in Washington, D.C. this June. He plans on giving back. Yes, let's give him a big applause. He plans on giving back by becoming an advisor or mentor to other Congressional Award Program participants. He will help them create an action plan for achieving their goals, along with helping others improve themselves and their communities. We are so very, very proud of you, Andre, and your parents. Are your parents with you? Okay, can we have the parents and Andre and Mr. Ott come up? We're going to do a photo, and I have a little something for Andre, but we just wanted to say, this is just congratulations.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Wow.
It's so wonderful.
Wait for Angie.
No.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We all want to shake your hand.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Wonderful baby.
Congratulations. Well done.
Well done.
I could use
Well
a
done.
little
Very well
coaching
done.
with your plan.
Andre, you want to come in and work out with me?
Great job. Physical fitness, I could do that. Yeah. Thank you. There's so many wonderful things going on.
Can we just adjourn now?
Yeah, yes. Not yet. No, we have one proclamation, then we'll adjourn. Okay. No. No. All right, how fitting that we are now proclaiming May 10th, 2023 as National School Nurse Day in Orange County Public Schools. And I'd like to call on Dr. Michelle Rutilius, Director of Health Services, to come forward and read the proclamation on behalf of the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, school board members and Superintendent Vasquez. I would like to start with the proclamation for National School Nurse Day. Whereas students are the future, and by investing in them today, we are ensuring our world for tomorrow. And whereas families deserve to feel confident that their children will be cared for when they are at school. And whereas all students have a right to have their physical and mental health needs safely met while in a school setting. And whereas students today face more complex health problems, and that requires care while in school. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has emphasized the essential role school nurses play in student health and academic success. And whereas school nurses have served a critical role in improving public health and ensuring students' academic success for more than 100 years. And whereas school nurses address the home and community factors that impact students' health. And whereas school nurses act as a liaison to the school community, families, and healthcare providers on behalf of children's health, by promoting wellness and improving health outcomes for our nation's children. And whereas school nurses are members of school-based teams to address the school population. And whereas school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference for children every day. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the School Board of Orange County, Florida, does hereby proclaim.
You can do it.
Okay.
You do it.
Wednesday, May 10th, 2023, as National School Nurse Day in Orange County Public Schools.
Will you come up here representing nurses so we can get a picture with you? Thank you. Great job. I think you should be our official proclamation reader.
When your hair is on point. So cute.
Look amazing, look happy.
Good job.
Thank you. Member Gould, did you want to say something? Member Gould, you're recognized.
So I wanted to thank you for reading the proclamation, but especially highlight school nurses. I ended up running for school board because of the partnership between Health Central Hospital and Orange County Public Schools to put registered nurses in 26 schools in West Orange County. And I have a passion for getting registered nurses back in every school clinic. That would be one thing I would like the legislature to actually give us select money for. And you said it very well in the beautifully written proclamation, but the nurses in our schools are really part of the safety net as well as the heartbeat, and often the ones kids will go to share things that are difficult for them, or if they're not just feeling great and they lift their spirits. So not only do you lift their health, but you lift their spirits. And I know many a time where the school nurses have literally saved a faculty member's life at the school. So it is a blessing to have people dedicated to our students and our schools. So thank you.
All right, Dr. Vasquez, do you have any newly appointed administrators to introduce?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, now we're into the serious part of the agenda. So are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair. We will be pulling 3 student discipline infractions involving student with initials LR listed on agenda item 6.02 off of the agenda, and it will be brought back at a later time.
All right, thank you, Dr. Vasquez. Is there a motion, or I'm sorry, Chair finds cause to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend the agenda as recommended by the superintendent? Motion by Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Member Felder. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'm sorry, any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Let's move on to public. We do have public comments, I believe. So I do need to read a statement. In order to provide governmental transparency as well as reasonable opportunities for the public to access and participate in the decision-making process, there are various methods by which the public can provide input to the school board. Those include coming to speak at the school board in person, using the call-in options, and via email in advance of the meeting. These methods are all published on the district's website and in BoardDocs. Ms. Emval, you did indicate that we have speakers.
Yeah, that is correct,
We
Madam Chair.
will take them up at the time we reach the item on the agenda. So if you're here to speak, just be patient with us, and we'll call on you when we're on that item, so that whatever you have to share with us is fresh in our minds as we move forward. So we've covered that. We're going to begin with public hearing 3.01. Dr. Vasquez, I will call on you. I will call on our general counsel.
I'll hand it for you.
I'll call on our general counsel. That's
Thank you.
what I was thinking I was going to do. Thank you.
School board members, this is the public's second opportunity for public comment on the proposed revisions to policies IJ, IJL, and KEC, which are all related to instructional resources and library materials. This has been an extensive review process for these proposed policy revisions, and it's occurred over a year's time. The revision team was considered and incorporated your input over the work sessions, and the proposed policy revisions were presented to you at last month's rule development workshop. These proposed rule changes have been properly advertised in accordance with Chapter 120 of the Florida statutes, and the proposed red lines for these policies are posted on BoardDocs. We did make a couple minor tweaks to some Scrivener's errors this morning, and they've been posted on the district's website on the policy revisions page. And for efficiency purposes, the timeline for the proposed revisions for these three policies is as follows. Please bear with me because, like I said, it was a while. And on March 1st of 2022, we had our first work session where we gathered school board member input. It went to cabinet on June 6th of 2022. Again, went to cabinet on July 11th of 2022. Back to another school board work session on July 12th of 2022. Then to a rule development workshop on August 16th of 2022. And at that time, school board directed staff to wait until the DOE training was released. It was released on December 29th of 2022. So we brought back the proposed policy revisions, additional proposed policy revisions on January 17th, 2023. We sent notice to the CTA and OSPA on March 15th, 2023. It was advertised on March 19th, 2023. We had a work session on March 28th, 2023. Rule development workshop was April 4th of 2023. And we are before you today on May 9th, 2023. Your first policy under 3.01 is policy IJ, instructional resources and materials. Those proposed revisions are before you. And now we have some public comment and discussion from board members. I believe you have 2 members of the public that want to speak on that.
All right, thank you. We do. So let's take comments from the public first. We have Jeanette Wise, followed by Demencio Barton.
Hello again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm a little shorter than where it was, so thank you. I just wanted to take a moment as I am starting to get a little bit more involved with these really extensive efforts that you're obviously here to do. And I very much appreciate all the time and everything because I can only imagine the plethora of everything that you all have to cover. With the HB 1467 OCPS board implementation, the 3.01, the request of approval of revised board policy IJ for the instructional resources, definitely in support of this one as well as the 3.02, especially finding some of the details such as ensuring age appropriateness in addition to a grade level, helping kind of keep those connections there are really just, kind of starting to get involved and see these types of things, and that type of granularity is really important. So I just wanted to step up and say thank you for those type of items and, not brush past such details because they are important to everybody and what it is that they have on our campuses. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Barton. Welcome, sir.
All right. Hi, how's everybody doing today?
Good. Why don't you pull that up a little so we can hear you?
Okay, can you hear me better?
Much better, thank you.
All right, thank you. This is a thank you. I was at the workshop on the 4th, and you remember we had the whole laugh about, age and man, is it whether or not you had gotten guidance. And I must admit, after reading through, I was very pleased. The guidance came or you came through. It is definitely within side of the rulemaking. I will say thumbs up when it's thumbs up, so it's definitely a thumbs up on that. Thank you very much for that. And just want to let you know, I really appreciate it. As I went through the 1467 House bill and I went through what we actually had, what was actually written, I was very pleased. There was some very good thoughtfulness, even down to, I'm not going to go ahead and read that one, but it's just it was a lot of thoughtfulness. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And one thing I do hope to do is one day, not too long from now, so we have more of this stuff come up, being a part of some of the committees that actually where these are coming up, and just so that we can really be a good a part of the whole group of our community developing what's best for our kids.
Thank you, Mr. Barton.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any comments from board members before we consider action on this item? Member Castellano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know we've worked on this for a long time, and as we've been working on it, the laws have often changed, or there's more discussion in Tallahassee about this. So I want to thank the people who have been working in our district on this policy for so long and trying to work with the concerns that the board members have and trying to figure out what the legislation is saying. And I thank them for all their efforts. I was a teacher for 15 years, and my 2 kids have gone through OCPS. And I just want to say that parents have always had and still have the ability to notify the teacher and the media specialist if there is an issue with the book. Parents can simply email the teacher or a media specialist if there are books they want to restrict for their own children. But now we find ourselves trying to determine a way to restrict books for everyone else's children. Initially, this began with an effort to hunt for pornography on our shelves. And no one on this board wants pornography in our schools. But it didn't stop there. Now books representing topics with LGBTQ characters, African American history, civil rights history, the Holocaust, and others have been challenged and are pulled around the state. Sometimes these are coordinated efforts with book lists being shared among various groups to target in each district. This has caused much distress by adding just one more straw on the backs of our teachers and our media specialists. And some are leaving the classroom as a result, and some are even choosing to leave this state. We are in a teacher shortage. This will only hurt our students in the classrooms. This policy asks for a priority list, but it does not limit the number of challenges by one person. One person who may not have any connection with the students certainly should not be able to exploit and gum up the works of our staff like they have in other districts. This policy, I believe, is incomplete. It favors those who wish to ban books. The challenger is allowed to request an appeal to the District Literacy Council if they don't like what happened at the school level. But there is no process for a parent or a student to appeal the school decision. This again favors those who wish to ban the books. So because I feel like this policy is still incomplete and is not going to be applied fairly, I am going to vote against it today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Member Castellano. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we've had, and I guess this question is directed to General Counsel, to Mrs. Invall, but a couple of things. Number one, I know that there's been more recent legislation that's passed in Tallahassee. Will the recent legislation that's passed, will this impact this current bill? Will this need to come before us again for further revision? That's my first question.
Yes, it will, but it would be very much helpful if we have a revised version upon which to start. I think the changes will be less extreme because as you look through both these policies, IJ and IJL, they're pretty much redlined because we kind of had to start over. But yes, we are going to have to bring back further revisions for you this summer based on the legislation, which we haven't started on those yet.
And then there's so in this policy, there's language about that we kind of refer to the Department of Education and their approved curriculum for our textbooks. But it occurs to me that with what's going, they're having a hard time approving materials, and we have to sometimes move faster than they're able to move. And we also have a committee that vets our material. So there's going to be instances where we may put textbooks or curriculum in place as deemed appropriate by our district council or committee that reviews it, that may not be, then the Department of Education may be like, nope, this isn't on our approved list. So does this policy address that, and what our process would be when that happens? Because I'm sure it's going to happen, because I think social studies we're going to have an issue with. So I was curious.
Yes, and we're going to have to work through those issues when they arise, because we're going to have to check to see what's on the list and what's not on the list, and work through those. But yes, Chair.
Go ahead. Follow up, definitely.
So will we have to tweak this, because we have to be transparent? So will we need to further tweak this policy above and beyond what the legislation changes are to kind of address that, or does this policy address that?
I think this policy sets a good framework for you to do, and then we'll just have to figure out what's coming and how quickly they move at the state.
I knew the answer to it. I just wanted you to answer
Okay.
publicly. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. And Member Castellano, did you have follow-up?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for you. Are we taking all 3 policies at once, or are we doing it individually?
No, we're voting on individually. Individually.
Okay. My response were directed at IJL.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarity. Okay, so I will entertain a motion regarding item 3.01, which is the request for approval of revised board policy IJ, instructional resource and materials. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion to approve?
Yes, motion to
Okay.
approve.
Motion to approve by Member Ferrand. Is there a second? Second by Member Gould. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion to approve. I'm sorry, policy IJ is approved with all members voting in the affirmative except for Member Castellano. Okay, let's move on to item IJL, and Ms. Enval?
Yes, the same timeline that I presented to you at the front applies to policy IJL, and for this particular policy, I believe we have 11 speakers.
All right, thank you. Hearing from our speakers first, let me begin with Corey Hill, followed by Ted Larkins. Welcome, Mr. Hill.
Thank you. Let's talk books, or the way things are going in the free state of Florida, the conspicuous absence thereof. I think if we're going to look at local policy, we also need to take it in the context of what's happening statewide throughout Florida and nationally. The Florida Department of Education announced proudly today that they've censored dozens more books, releasing a list of elementary and middle school textbooks that have been altered at the demand of that body. What did they remove? References to social justice, references to George Floyd. According to Manny Diaz, the goal was to provide, quote, materials that focus on historical facts and are free from inaccuracies or ideological rhetoric. With the fascists censoring Florida's textbook, every accusation is a confession. They decry indoctrination, while every move they make is designed to further their right-wing agenda. Make no mistake, the targeting of education, in particular history and sociology, is deliberate. By depriving people of the ability to truly understand the past, we strip them of the ability to act meaningfully in the present. The last time I was here, the primary subject of comments from the crowd related to the cancellation of a popular event at Boone High School, Dragon Donuts. One of the members of this board was a leading figure in the cancellation of this event, a fellow traveler with Manny Diaz and the DeSantis administration in silencing LGBTQI voices. I want to remind everyone of what many of the students said that day. If you are so concerned about our safety, why aren't you looking at the hate speech we've endured in the hallways? If you are so concerned about our well-being, why do you ignore the fact that the #1 cause of death for people under the age of 18 in this country is gun violence? At first glance, and based on the reaction of some of the people in the crowd, I think some people might be confused. What does one have to do with the other? As the beneficiary of a pre-censorship Florida education, I was given the ability to understand history and to think holistically. The same forces that want to ban books are the same forces that want to strip trans people of human rights. The same people who want to ban books are the same people who demonize immigrants. The ism that keeps me up at night isn't wokeism. It's fascism, it's racism, it's white nationalism. And this is the real threat to our children. In fact, the real threat to all of us. I know my history. I know that the people banning books are never the heroes. And I know that what starts with banning books never ends there. I don't think we should be removing books from our schools. I think we should be removing fascists from our school boards.
All right, let's take our next speaker, and that would be, I'm sorry, Ted Larkins. Thank you.
Hello, school board. Thank you for having me. Honored to be able to speak here with you all. My name's Ted Larkins. I have two, if I may say, wonderful children attending Winter Park High. Go Wildcats. Look, we've all been following the book banning, and I've been looking at it, of course. And I've done some of my own research into what's going on with it. Book banning, to me, as an older person in this room, is something that only happened in Nazi Germany, not here in the USA. And so I've been very curious of why our society would even go down that path. One of the arguments for book banning that I picked up was they say that by removing books that may propagate ideas that clash with our core values, we create a harmonious environment that fosters unity and mutual respect. I say, board members, whose core values are we protecting, and who are you or anyone to determine my or anybody else's core values? So book banning, I think, undermines the very essence of education, intellectual growth. By denying access to books, we deny our youth the opportunity to expand their horizons and develop critical thinking skills. Book banning stifles creativity and hinders the development of empathy. And by banning books, we rob our students of the chance to explore diverse characters and narratives that can shape their understanding of the world. Please, on behalf of the kids who will one day be adults and need a rounded, full education, don't ban books. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Larkins. Let's hear from Lily Stallman, followed by Nia Larkins.
Sorry, I'm a little bit shorter than this mic.
That's okay, perfect. Good job.
Hi, I'm Lily Stallman, and I'm a 9th grader at Winter Park High School. Go Wildcats. And as a little girl, I couldn't read, not even at the age where little girls were supposed to be able to read. I was stuck. My family and I figured out after a series of tests that I was dyslexic, and due to that, I avoided anything with words. I underwent years of tutoring. The first chapter book I ever read, with the help of my mother, of course, was Charlotte's Web. I was starting to get why my mother and all of those around me loved books so much after reading that wonderful story. Now I'm a little older, a little wiser, and I know for a definite fact that I am not alone. Board members, if you continue to let books be banned by the power of the so-called review by parents, then you are doing a great injustice to kids like me, for those who long for a place to belong in this crazy world. By banning books, you're robbing children of a chance to figure out their true identity. Students should have the ability to give input on the books they want to have in their library. Notice how I use the pronoun their library, not the parents. I do believe in parental rights, but I do not believe in having my voice quieted and by allowing books to have the ability to be banned in our district. You are silencing us. What is more important, the parents that threaten you or the students all over the county in whom you serve? Your job as elected officials is to hear us out and to advocate. So I beg all of you to do so and make real change for this school district. Fascism is not something that someone can see from miles away. It just creeps up on you until you are stuck, just like all the students in this county and across Florida. I ask you that you open your eyes to what is in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's hear from Nia Larkins.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Nia Larkins. I'm 15 and I go to Winter Park High School. Go Wildcats. I'm here just to talk to you. I don't have a speech. I don't have anything written. I just want to speak to you. I want to know why you think that banning books is making kids not learn about certain subjects like sex or gay people, I guess. I don't understand why you think that this is preventing them from ever hearing those words. But you know that so many kids are given iPhones these days. I know a 7-year-old who has TikTok who just kind of watches it, and she knows about all this stuff because she hears it from sources that are not educational, that are not good, and that are not safe for kids to learn about. We need to teach our kids about sex in a proper way, and these books that you're banning are books that talk about these subjects in ways that are delicate and helpful to these kids' minds and that help them grow. And by taking this away, you stop them from learning from sources that are actually valuable. And now they learn about things from other kids online, and it doesn't make any sense. And I need you to stop and think for just 1 second about what this means and why you're actually banning these books. And it's because you're uncomfortable. It's not because these kids are uncomfortable. No kid has come up here and said, these books are making me uncomfortable. These books are not okay for me. That's not what's happening. We, us kids, are standing here telling you this is not making us or any of our peers uncomfortable. It's making you uncomfortable. And it's making the parents who don't know what their kids are going through uncomfortable. It doesn't make any sense. That's all I'm here to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Iris, I'm going to have to ask for your help with your last name. And then Will Larkins. Hi, welcome.
My name is Iris Vernoy. I'm a student at Winter Park High School. I love to read. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I've been reading since I was little, obviously. Jesus. Books provide an outlet for children to be able to work their imaginations and build up their own view of the world. Without this outlet, they turn to other sources of information. Phones, specifically right now, social media like TikTok, Instagram, and whatnot. Without these books, they don't have anywhere to turn to. They are misled on current issues and important distinctions in things like consent, LGBTQ issues, racism. What are they finding online? Books, at least, they have to be published. They have to be looked over, edited, and put into schools chosen by teachers and librarians in order for kids to choose them in the first place. If a parent does not like a book, then the parent can request their kid does not read the book or look through what the kid gets from the library. That is up to the parent's discretion in their own household, not the parent's discretion for the entire school and everybody else's children. Allow individuals to be able to learn and discover their own worldview from what they can see and find around them through good sources of information like books and not weird websites or social media outlets. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Will Larkins. Will, followed by Stefana Farrell.
Hi, members. I'm back. My name is Will Larkins. I'm an 18-year-old senior at Winter Park High School. Go Wildcats! And first off, I wanted to start by thanking the members who are defending our right to read and to learn. 30 people have died in 19 school shootings since the beginning of 2023. Anyway, let's talk about book banning. There are currently 3 books banned in Orange County Public Schools. This book is gay, genderqueer, and let's talk about it. All 3 books are about LGBTQ people. Being gay and non-binary, I knew that I was different from a very young age. I was very different from the other boys in my class, and I never knew why. It's because I'm gay and non-binary. I was never taught about my existence. By 4th grade, I'd come to the conclusion that I was broken. I'd come to the conclusion that there was something wrong with me, and I fully believe that. This is a very common experience for LGBTQ people. I grew up seeing every Disney movie, every book was about heterosexual people. I did not know gay people existed. Exposure to my own existence would have saved me so much suffering, and for others, it would have saved their lives, because queer teens are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than their straight counterparts. I'm about to make y'all uncomfortable. Gay sex happens, and it happens among students. In fact, I knew people having gay sex in middle school. I was never taught about gay sex in schools. I wasn't really taught about sex in schools at all. But we definitely weren't taught how to do it safely, properly, how to avoid STIs, how to avoid HIV or the existence of PrEP and PEP. Sex is a fact of life. We should teach it as such. I got my sexual education from the internet, and as you can imagine, it was not correct. But like the other students have said, these books have been reviewed, they have been edited, and they've been fact-checked to make sure that they're correct. And these are educational materials that we are removing from schools, and they're all about gay people. Why are all 3 books about gay people? One more thing. I applied to be on the District Literacy Council to review books myself as a student who is a student right now, and I was denied because I was a student. So I ask you to please make sure students have a voice when it comes to our own education. And following the expansion of Don't Say Gay to 12th grade and the expansion of these book banning bills, I want you to know that from conversations that I have every day in school, where I attend every day, students are afraid, teachers are afraid, and they're afraid that you're not going to defend them. They saw what happened with Dragon Donuts. They saw that the students' event got canceled and that the teachers were not stood up for, that they were allowed to be bullied down by the legislature. I ask that you all please support students and parents in this, students and teachers, parents, everyone in this very scary time in Florida. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Will. Stefana Farrell, followed by Jacob Washuta.
So I kind of arranged my comments just figuring that this was going to pass. So I'm going to make some requests for amendments. As I've said from the very beginning of this review last March, IMB is about teaching about controversial issues that should not be in the library policy. And now more than ever, we need a policy that IMB is supposed to accomplish. Right now, it's just a reference that the Bible should be in our libraries as you're incorporating it in. But our teachers, our parents, and our students all deserve a fully flushed out policy around what kind of conversational issues are going to be discussed in the classroom, when parents have the opportunity to opt out, what's expected, and where does that line cross from having a healthy conversation to possible indoctrination. All of that needs to be thoroughly outlined to protect conversations, to protect our resources in our classrooms, to protect our libraries. I don't know if you guys saw today, but Wakulla County actually removed a book on the Little Rock 9, and they said they were removing it because the concept was not age appropriate for 3rd graders, though the book is written for 3rd graders. It's a graphic novel. And instead of leaving it in the library for 4th and 5th graders, they instead said, well, we've got some high schoolers reading at a 3rd grade level, so we'll move it up to our middle and high school students. And it is a book intended for that 8 through 12 age group. And so all this to say, we've got teachers and principals that are, you've got a policy that the first conversation happens with the principal. No book should be removed without that reconsideration form filled out. And so that first conversation that a challenger has with the principal, you could resolve it via a parent opt-out. You could say that, hey, we've talked about it, the book's going to be retained, or, hey, here's the form, let's move to the next level. It should not be allowed to be removed without a form being filled out. The other thing, you guys all asked for the harmful to minors definition to be added to the policy. Instead, it got labeled as obscene. The definitions are the same in 847.001. However, the important factor is that harmful to minors is actually defined, because that's the reason why in 847.012, it's the and harmful to minors. And the reason why you asked for the definition of harmful to minors to also be included in the policy is for that reason. And so to label that policy or that definition as obscene versus harmful to minors, it's confusing, and it should be harmful to minors. And then, as others have mentioned, the appeal process, we should definitely have it available so that anyone can appeal a decision on a book. And then just in general, we know what kind of books are being targeted. We know that we need protections. We know that we need to make sure that one person can't censor our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell. Jacob. Jacob, you'll help me with your last name. Then Maria Ellis.
It is Jacob Washuda. First of all, I'm a student at Boone High School, a sophomore at Boone High School. Go Braves. I'd like to read an excerpt from a song and then a little something else that I wrote. They say there are strangers who threaten us, our immigrants and infidels. They say there is strangeness too dangerous in our theaters and our bookstore shelves. Those who know what's best for us must rise and take it from ourselves. This is a witch hunt. According to the 2021 Youth Risk Behavior Survey administered by the CDC, 36% of Florida high school students have had sexual intercourse. This is the real world. There's not an ounce of literacy content that one cannot access by simply looking online. This is the real world. You are not restricting student access to explicit content by forbidding books that you deem too adult within school environments. You are simply knocking at the door of fascism by letting our right-leaning status quo deem which books are suitable for children. The expansion of House Bill 1557, or the Don't Say Gay bill, as it is widely known, was a prime example of the claim that we are protecting children is just a front to push conservative political dogma into educational environments. If this broadly cast net was equally applied, far more books would be forced off shelves. Books which, if removed, would enrage many of those who support these un-American book bans. In order to read a book, you must desire to do so. No one can force the words into your brain. Books cannot be indoctrination. They are simply information. The real world is complicated and often a terrifying place. We should not keep the ability to learn from students, especially not high schoolers who are nearly adults themselves. We teach sexual education to middle schools, or in middle schools. This is the real world. We encourage the use of contraceptives and abstinence to lower rates of unwanted teen pregnancy. This is the real world. The censorship and metaphorical book burning we are witnessing is an embarrassing display of right-wing extremism that does nothing but show the general public the true intentions of the Republican Party. Book bans are hypocritical and un-American. I understand that much of what I've spoken about today is not at fault of this board. Having said this, it is their responsibility to act accordingly in the best interest of OCPS students. I'd like to lastly ask for students to have an opportunity to appeal books that have been banned, as this would at least give us some say in what we are permitted to read. Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Maria Ellis, followed by Jeanette Wise.
Hi. My name is Maria Ellis. I am a 9th grader at Winter Park High School. Now I feel like I have to say, go Wildcats. I don't have a speech prepared. I really came in here not thinking I was going to speak, and then I signed a card anyways. All I have to say is that books are essential to kids. It's part of our education. It's part of our childhood. And just book banning is just keeping minorities in the dark, okay? And you're banning books about different races, different sexual relationships. We're also bringing books for different religions. Not every kid is Christian. Not every kid reads the Bible. And those other religions aren't over here saying, well, we need, our religious texts in the library too, or no, they can't have theirs in there because we don't believe in it. And that's just not fair. If I wanted different parents' perspectives in my education, I would let them homeschool me. But they don't have the qualifications to do that. So why are we letting them in our education? Why are we letting them have an opinion with what we're learning? Education is supposed to be objective. I'm not here to learn what my friend's mom wants me to think or what the kid down the street's dad thinks that we should be learning. I don't care. I am here to learn a standard. I'm here to learn objective education. Books are being banned for the fact that they're not factually correct, even though that is so not true. It's just a way to push other opinions down and to keep, like I said before, minorities in the dark. And that's just not fair for the different groups of kids that are going to school. And if I'm just saying, if we want to learn a book that is factually correct, maybe we should start teaching 1984 by George Orwell, because that's where our state and nation is going. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeanette Wise, followed by Demencio Barton.
Jeanette already left.
Oh,
Jeanette
left?
gone.
Thank you.
So, okay. All right. Well, thank you again. Okay. On IJL rather, Media Center Materials Program, this one is a little bit more interesting. I saw this one comment as I was reading it. I'll just read for everyone here. And it was one of the comments, A4R3, whatever else it does in the context of school library books, the First Amendment does not require a school board to leave on its library shelves a purportedly nonfiction book that contains false statements of fact. I was listening, when I read that, I was just looking and I was just thinking, like, why aren't there ninth graders on that board? Why are our teachers required to graduate from high school, go to college? Why? If we don't need adult supervision, adult training, wisdom from those who've come before us to come to us, if we don't need it, why can a kid with the money not be in your position? Or your position, or anybody's position up here, or even a superintendent of schools? Why does a superintendent, I saw what you went through. That was a lot. Why can't a kid just come in there? Why can't a kid just say, I have bright ideas. I'm brilliant. And they may be brilliant. They may have bright ideas. But it doesn't mean that those ideas are the ones that should rule their world. There are some lessons learned by those who've come before us that are not meant to destroy us, but they're meant so that we don't fall in the holes that though our predecessors have come before, they fall into them themselves. When I look at a lot of what's going on, I respect the right of everyone to have a choice and decide different things, but there are things that we are supposed to do for our kids to keep them from falling into the problems of the past. We don't want to have new world wars. We doggone well better have learned from the previous ones. We don't want the industrial problems we had when we had kids working in factories and they were being destroyed. If we don't learn from the past, we will repeat it. I love the fact that the youth are talking and they are speaking. But when they talk and say that the parents are like fascists because of their wisdom, they're trying to help them not to fall into traps, at that point, I say, do what any wise adult would do and stand even if they do not agree. Thank you.
All right, that completes public comment. Member Felder, you're recognized.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No? Okay. Member Casterdental.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for everyone who spoke. The silver lining, I think, to this whole discussion is that this culture war that has been flamed in this board meeting and all the different board meetings has created a generation of students who are not afraid to speak up and claim what they deserve. They are well-reasoned, they are articulate, they are brave. They come up to the mic without any notes. They speak from the heart. And I think the kids will save us. So thank you.
Member Front.
Yeah, I would like to say as well, I'm definitely appreciate everybody who came. And if you've been here a while, you know that no matter what your beliefs are or whether you agree or don't agree with what is going on, I'm always very appreciative to everyone who comes and speaks because I once was a parent who would come and share my opinion or my thoughts. And so I appreciate it. And I know that it takes courage to come and speak. So I do appreciate that. I do want to just address a few things. As you, I'm sure, already know, everyone seems to know me here. So I'm definitely for all of these. I do want to just make a public statement that book banning, and by saying book banning, whether you're a board member, you're a parent, you're a faculty, you're a student, the term book banning is just a way to gaslight. Book banning is a way to gaslight those who are just wanting to make sure that there are boundaries and that there's protections for every student that is in our schools. And what is happening right now is we're just wanting to make sure that kids are reading quality books of wherever, whoever. I wouldn't want heterosexual content with graphic sex. There's a book that I actually just was looking through and came up called Forbidden. That I'll be looking into, and it is actually about a boy and a girl who are brother and sister, in fact, and they're raising their siblings because their parents are alcoholics. Those two, brother and sister, decide they're going to start having sexual relations. And so the entire book discusses the sexual acts and explicit, that is called perversion. And those are not the windows that I would want any student having to look into and see. And so I think we can have diverse characters and narratives without having the sexual content. For me, it always has been about sexual content, and I think there's people of this board that can see. I've said from day one, it's not about gender, it's not about race, and it's not about religion. It is about making sure that books do not contain explicit sexual content. The argument that we should allow these books because, kids have iPhones, I've heard that a lot. The books, those are our responsibility. iPhones would be a parent's responsibility. So that when my kids have an iPhone, that's my responsibility as a parent to make sure that those are protected. If you're a parent, you don't care if they have any kind of boundaries, no problem, that's up to you. But when it's coming from the public school, I think we do need to have boundaries. And then I'd love to discuss the topic of dyslexia and the fact that we do have a 50% literacy rate in this county right now. And I do believe that, yes, ma'am, 50%, that's it. I know, I was shocked myself. Because that means that 50% of our kids are not reading on grade level. And so I've actually been working with members of the board, specifically Member Gallo, to try to really make sure that we are honing in on those students who are dyslexic. We have many parents who have pulled their kids from public schools, driving them 45 minutes or an hour to make sure that they get the education that they need to hone in on that dyslexic or any kind of reading disability that they might have. And I want to make sure that we get that here. And so, something that we are working with is Orton Gillingham, and I think that is phenomenal. I'm super excited about it, but that's for another day. And then I'll just leave with, I know not everybody may be in agreement with this, but I do think that we can just continue to stand and make sure that our kids have quality books that don't have explicit content.
Vice Chair Gallo.
Thank you. I want to thank. There it is. There you go. I want to thank all of the students and everybody who spoke tonight. We appreciate y'all so much. And I just want you to know we hear you. We hear what you're saying, and I do think, and I've said it publicly before, that students should have a voice. I think that there are a lot happening in the world right now where adults are making decisions on their behalf, and we have parents in the room that are here speaking out on behalf of their children, so they understand what their children are involved in. When I come in every day, I see parents dropping their students off so that they could talk at pre-agenda or they can talk at the meeting. So those parents are engaged with what their kids are doing because they know it's important to their kids, so it's important to them. If there is a silver lining, the good news is there's a lot of discussions happening at home, right? If a parent is taking time out of their day to drop their child off so they could speak to us as a body, can you imagine the discussions that are happening at home about books and content and stuff that maybe before a parent wouldn't have that discussion with the child, and now they're having that discussion with the child, and that's a good thing, because the students that we're hearing from the most are our marginalized students, who are frightened by some of the recent laws that have passed, are frightened by some of the decisions that are made. And I hope y'all know this. If not, I'm going to let you know. We're committed to making sure that y'all are safe and happy and educated and loved and valued, because every child is valued and loved in OCPS. And it's just important that you hear that from me. So. In regards to the policy, there's some gaps, and I agree with Stefana. There's a lot of fear within our classrooms with our teachers about losing their certificates, and with our staff. And so I think anything, and we've said this all along, we've vetted this thing out for a long time, but any guidance that we can provide, and if it's not in the form of policy because we need the leeway to change it faster than the board can in policy, maybe it's in the forms of procedures so that they know what's the difference between instruction versus non-instruction, what is appropriate if it's student-led versus teacher-led, so they don't get in trouble. So any guidance that we could provide them and make that guidance public so that our community is aware of the guidance that we're giving to the teachers, I think would be well received and would have alleviate some of the angst that there is amongst our students and our staff. So I would be in big favor of that. We're going to have to bring this back, because there is changes. A law just, I think the governor signed it, where we have to remove every book that's being challenged. So we need to make sure that every book that we removed is being challenged, and that the appropriate paperwork is filled out by everybody, including us on the board, when we come across books, just for the appearance of transparency. I want to point out that if you look, and I pulled it up on the website, and thank you for that, by the way, for putting it on the website, which was very easy for me to find today. And I looked at the books that we have removed and the books that we haven't. There are books that went through the process that we didn't remove. Good books that y'all have advocated for us to keep on our shelves. 2 of them are still on our shelves because it went through the process and we have them there. So this board is not about banning books. I think Member Castrodental said it the best. Nobody wants pornography in our libraries. No, none of us. None of the members on the board want pornography in our classroom. But it is important that we make sure that everybody is represented and everybody feels represented when they have access to materials in our libraries. I was an avid reader when I was in elementary school. It was a place for me to escape. When life got a little too tough or things weren't going my way, I would crawl into the library, and this is when elementary went to 6th grade, and I'd pull out Beverly Cleary, or I'd pull out Judy Blume, and I would just sit there in the corner and I could escape. And for that 30 minutes or that hour that it took me to read the book, or however long, I had peace in my life. I had a place to go to escape where I was happy and I was content. So I recognize the need for everybody in here to have that same access and that same ability to escape and to learn and to feel represented. And it's important to us. So I just wanted to say that. We will still be working on this. We recognize that there's gaps. We have to get this approved. So I will be supporting it tonight for that reason, but I recognize that it's going to come back to us very soon, and we'll have an opportunity to correct some of the gaps in the policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Member Byrd.
I think everything was just said that I wanted to say. So I do want to take just a minute to thank our staff, and I see some of them in the back that I know have just worked tirelessly on this. And it has not been easy, because it wasn't like it was an easy law that was just passed one day and that was it, and it was very clear, and it has just been ongoing and changing and more, and it was so confusing, and not knowing what was going to happen from the DOE from day to day. It has just, as someone up here said, clogged up our system and our district in this department that I'm looking at right now for over a year. And so I just want to take a minute to thank all of you that worked on it, because I know it was not easy, and our legal team really collaborating with them. I'm frustrated by that, because that right there is what frustrates me, because I have so many things. We have so many things that we need people like that, those minds working on, that are affecting our kids every day. It's not the books. I'm telling you, it's their 24-hour access to everything and everyone's opinion and everything that's out in the world that they are inundated with constantly. It's not from them opening books. I hate to say it. I wish more of them were opening books, but I don't think a lot of them are like they used to, just because of their access to electronics. So this is not a problem. It never was, but it was easy. It's easy to bring one bad book into a board meeting and rally up a whole bunch of people that support that. So that was what this all was. It was easy. It got support. And the problem is, the effects of that is, it's now taken a year out of a school district's time, and we're not the only one. It's 67 districts across the state who have been rambling trying to get these policies up so that we could, not be in trouble with the state. So that's frustrating to me. I'm trying to work on anti-violence in my community. I had 2 shootings at schools this year. There are such bigger things that we should be spending our time on. So I'm frustrated by this whole thing, but I will be voting for it, because I have to, because we have to have a policy for this law. And so I agree that there are some gaps and there's some things that need to work on, but I think this is a really good starting point. I think that I really appreciate the staff listening to input from community members and from the board, and making changes when we ask them to. And I think that there will be more changes to make, but I think this is a good start. Thank you.
Member Salamanca.
Thank you, Chair. No, I share a lot of the same kind of concerns that we were heard up here today. I mean, we need to have a policy. We've had so much time, resources, and staff's minds focused on this. And this book issue is such a red herring from what really this is about, right? And I think, yes, it's not where our district needs to be spending all of its time, because we need to be focused on reading and math and mental health, and all of these things are very, very real. But we have to acknowledge, our media and state's obsession with books, right? Because it's a red herring that wants us to, we are creating a map. I think one of the really good things that come out of this is, yes, today we're voting on this very poorly written policy from state that we're trying to improve here in Orange County. But I assure you that the students who are being told what not to read or believe will now have a map on where they should go and look. That this will create a backlash from a generation of student leaders who are not going to wait until they are in power to feel safe against guns, to feel like they have to be told and what to read. We're not going back decades. I was a student in this district. I identify as LGBTQ. I didn't have any of these books telling stories about my narrative, about my character, about who I was. I did not have exposure to my own existence, as some people said here. This wasn't that long ago. I was in school very recently, I graduated Timber Creek 2011, and I came from immigrant parents, moved to the U.S. when I was 7, very Catholic family, and who I was and what I was dealing with was not accepted in my home. It was not a safe space for me. My safe space was my peers, my teachers, my other parents and friends, and it was my books. It was the books that spoke about what it felt like to feel different. It wasn't about sexuality, because those didn't exist. They weren't in this. They're a very new phenomenon, where we have books that speak to these different identities and stories and experiences. And it kills me to know that all of a sudden these books have started to become part of our libraries in the past couple of years. And here we are getting them rid of them when they've been around for so little. And I agree with some of the stuff the students said today. The folks who get rid of books are not usually on the good side of history when you look back. And when we find ourselves getting rid of things that we don't agree with in our values, usually it doesn't go really well for a nation. I think, it is a bit patronizing to tell our students that we have the wisdom of the years of generations before us, because if we did have the wisdom of these generations before us, we wouldn't be repeating these mistakes that we have had for centuries and what it means to get rid of books. So clearly that wisdom didn't pass on through, and the new generation picked up on it a lot faster than we did. So I will be supporting this policy today. I will work with this board to focus on the things that matter, which is reading and math and mental health. But I'm not going to just ignore the fact that I know that banning these books are a Trojan horse for not talking about issues that our society suddenly feels very uncomfortable with, even though we just became accepting that we exist. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm in a position of power. And these students who are being told today that who they are in these books are not acceptable, they're not the values that we want our other kids to learn. They're listening and they're hearing and they're organizing. And it's going to get only harder because they're not going to give up. And so I am happy to have them in this room today. I'm happy to continue to have them and give them a platform and listen to them. And I just hope that the oh so wise older generations listen to them too, because they're our future leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Salamanca. Member Gould.
I would say we have spent well over 100, maybe even 200 hours on this. And here's what I wish we had spent 200 hours on. Teacher retention, promoting education careers, skills-based learning, learners to earners, the challenges of our discipline as kids came out of COVID who had been isolated, the growth in our community, resilience and mentoring for our students and our community, and connecting them to positive opportunities with adults, school safety, community involvement, creating more internships, exposure to the career path programs, more arts, more athletics, more after-school programs, more ways to be productive citizens. That's what I wish we had spent all of those hours talking about. And that's what I wish the major topics of this state were, but they're not. And this is law that we have to figure out how to make it work within our district as best we can. I would love to see this group of kids and the group of folks over here really find the ways to improve our community and come together and focus on some of these issues to get educations back. And I don't mean push education back. I mean hold them up and help. I don't want things that are inappropriate age or developmentally inappropriate in school. I want to get that on the record. That is not what I'm saying. But we have major issues where we are going to fall behind as an economic power if we don't invest in our education system. And that's what I wish we were talking about. But we're not. So I will follow the law that we have to figure out how to implement. and I will vote for this. But I do want to clarify something. We've talked a lot about how to get books off the shelves, but how do students, families ask to put them on? And I don't think we've lifted that up. It's in there, but it's kind of so buried in the other language. How do we let people know that they can say a media specialist or a teacher is fearful and makes a judgment call on a book where they don't think it should come in? I want to make sure that everybody knows how to get a book on the shelf too, if it's possible, or get it into the review. It is written in there, but I don't know that we've lifted it enough to kind of stop talking about just the negative, but how do we get some of the positive conversations going about books we may want to see on our shelves. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gould. Member Felder.
Thank you, Chair. This reminds me of my attitude as a youngster when I was at Jones High School in 1971 to 74, and they were trying to close my school, where the district was, and how adamant my white friends at Jones, there were only a handful of them, and black kids, and the district was located on Tampa Avenue, how we walked out of Jones High School, 1400 Cypress Street, that was the address that's now the back of the school, and walked down there and demanded that our school needed to stay open. When I hear young people fight for what they believe in, also this whole issue about the banning books and different kinds of literature not being taught, and this attack on people reminds me of the civil rights movement, when the attack was on colored citizens, Negro citizens, African American citizens, Black Americans. They were targeted, and we had to convince people that we were worthy and we should demand some respect. My first consideration when I think about the fact that we are fighting to keep teachers, and if I have the choice between getting rid of a face as opposed to getting rid of the nose, I get rid of the nose before I get rid of the face. When I'm being told that licenses may be taken, or people may lose their livelihood, and I have to choose. I want them to keep their licenses. I want them to keep their livelihoods. What do I have to do? I thank God. I don't know what my position would be if I was still a teacher. Probably I would be before the board and probably recommended for firing, because I would be teaching. I would be teaching. I love my little principal. The last principal I had, Dr. Shanoff. He can concur. I would be teaching those books that would be banned or questioned. But when I look at the whole picture, we got to keep teachers. We got to keep administrators. And if I have to make that choice, it's a bad choice. I don't like having to make that choice. And I do remember, I understand this whole assault. I'm 66. I lived through it. I know exactly what you're feeling. But I have to look at the whole picture. If it's going to keep a teacher's license or principal, because as a school board member, I took an oath that I would govern and institute policies that was aligned with legislation. You'll be voting soon. Some of you can vote right now. I need you to show your power. That's all I'm going to say. Show your power. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Felder. I want to thank all the students that are here. Member Salamanca, I want to thank you for your leadership and your representation. I know if I were a student right now, I would not probably believe. I would probably not believe anything I'm about to say. I am terribly sorry that we are where we are. I do think there is a way for us to have books in the library that represent our children, our youth, our teenagers who are gay, who are lesbian, who are bi, who are queer, who are transgender. I think there's a way for us to have those books and comply with the law. It's a narrow line that we have to walk, but I think we can walk it. This board has asked the superintendent to look at every time a book comes off the shelf because it contains those subjects that some people in Tallahassee, too many of them, find offensive, and some people in our community. It's clear when I look at the lists of books that have been challenged, they're almost all about the LGBTQ community. And that's really sad. It is especially sad when this community lost 49 people in Pulse less than 10 years ago for no other reason than that they found a safe place to come and be welcome and be safe and be respected. And for that, they perished. And yet, right here in our community, we have adults, if they're really focused on pornography, and I do agree that graphic pornography or content that is not age appropriate should not be in the library. Elementary school is one thing, middle school is another thing, high school is another thing. We should be able to figure that out. But when I see the books that are pulled, I can't ignore the fact that there are still too many people right here in Orange County, where I thought we were so much better, that are pulling these books. And they're not pulling the other books, the heterosexual books that contain the same sexual content. And that's just not okay. I guess I shouldn't get so completely down because it's still a small number of people, but I felt so good about this community when it responded so overwhelmingly supportive of our LGBTQ plus youth just a few years ago. I felt so good when I was mayor of Orange County and I flew the gay pride flag from the top of the county administration building, a government building, and I thought all hell was going to break loose. I knew I was going to be barraged by, attacks and nasty emails and death threats, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I got 2 emails and they weren't even all that harsh. And I felt so good about where we are. And when I joined this district, I felt so good that this district understood how important it is that every single one of our children feel safe, because a lot of you, I know because in my generation, my friends that were gay or lesbian, we didn't even talk about transgender, but the ones that were gay and lesbian, they couldn't talk to their parents. They couldn't even talk to most of their friends. So I know how important it is for you to be safe and welcome and cherished and loved. And I know that's not what you're feeling right now. And I know we're not helping you feel that way when we tell you that we need to vote for this, but we need to counter it by making sure that we're adding the books that we need to add. So I've asked the superintendent to pull the list of books that we've added. And if it doesn't meet the expectation of the board, We are going to hunt for those books that we can add into the library. We are going to fight with positivity. We're going to fight with love, okay? And we are going to win. We may not win instantly, but we are going to win. But we're going to do it together. I love you. We need to do a better job, I think, of communicating with our GSA clubs. I did reach out to them after this all started. I think we need to reach out again and make sure that they know that we're not the enemy. You got enough enemies. I surely didn't run for office to be your enemy. We need to change the language moving forward because there needs to be a counter appeal process. There needs to be a counter voice. And the way we have it set up right now, we don't have that ability. If we have one school that has a committee with an agenda and they prevail, there's no way for you or even me to counter that. And we need to fix that. So, and we are not going to fix it today because we can't change it right this second because there's a state law that says we have to go through this long process. But if we don't follow that process, it just all goes out the window. And I would give up my seat in a heartbeat if I thought I could change any of this. I would give it up yesterday. But the thing is, if you lose the board members that you have that are fighting for you, the replacements, you won't be electing them. They will be appointed. They will be appointed by the same people you're fighting right now. So hang with us. Let's stay together. Let's stay strong. Let's be as positive as we can be. And let's keep working on this until we prevail. It may not be until you all are sitting in these seats, or more importantly, in those seats, but we don't give up, okay? Okay. And board, thank you for letting me go over my 5 minutes. Now, thank you. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have the gavel. Nobody could gavel me. Do we have a motion? A reluctant motion?
No, I'm proudly will motion to approve this. I don't think we need to lead with where we're creating more fear. I think we lead and say, we love every one of you. We love you. We care about you. Every one of these board members has sat here and said that they do not want explicit or pornographic content in our books. Same as me. That's it. And so I motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Member Gould. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries with all members voting in the affirmative except for Member Kester-Dental. Okay. Ms. Envall. Yes.
Last one is policy KEC, concerns about instructional resources. And it's being recommended that the school board repeal policy KEC, concerns about instructional resources, as the current version of the policy has been incorporated into policy IJL. And this is the final policy for your consideration tonight. There are no public speakers on this particular policy.
All right. Thank you. Board members, comments?
I don't have a comment, but I will move to approve the repeal of KEC.
I have a motion to approve the request to repeal. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Member Salamanca. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. If you'll give me just a minute. So we had one more item that has been pulled permanently. We have the consent agenda that we have not voted on. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion moved by Vice Chair, seconded by Member Castor-Dental to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Non-consent, no, I'm sorry. We don't have anything on non-consent, I don't believe, and I think we're on to, I'm sorry, I do think we have one more thing. Or is it just action, no committee reports? Superintendent, do you have a report for the board?
I have a very short report.
Short would be really good.
Yes, it'd be great. And it's really great news. So I'm really very pleased to say that earlier today, the governor signed the bill with the new concordance scores that's going to allow over 800 of our seniors to be able to graduate. So we are very grateful. Secondly, for the 7th year in a row, our district has been named Best Community for Music Education by the National Association of Music Merchants, and that speaks to our commitment to the arts, and so we're very thankful. And last, but certainly not least, I want to point out there was an article that came out yesterday, I believe, highlighting the work that has been done in Orange County, specifically by our student services team under the leadership of Kathy Schuler and Mary Bridges, where we are the only district that has lessened the suicide rate by 13%, while other states across the nation, it has gone up, and in the state of Florida, there was only a 1% drop. And I am so incredibly grateful to the work our student services team has done and continues to do to provide resources, support, training that is so badly needed in our schools. And so I just wanted to publicly thank them for their hard work. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. And Dr. Vasquez, I echo your comments about our incredible staff. I do also, and I will be recognizing next week our Mental Health Commission. And I also want to recognize, I just want to call attention while we're on the subject to the people that have volunteered their time and their expertise for the last 2.5 years. To supporting the work of our entire team here to help our children deal with the difficulties, the trauma that they've experienced through COVID, but also the trauma that many of them experience at home. And I just think we're very lucky to be where we are with such dedicated, committed people, and with a district that understands that mental illness is a real thing. It's not a character weakness. It's a physical ailment, just like cancer is. And there's so many things I am proud of in this district. And that's one of them too. So do we have a report from our general counsel? Okay, let me call on Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I was in Tallahassee this past week for my daughter's graduation. She graduated with her master's. I'm very proud of her. But I met with the Department of Education to talk about attendance, because I have a nonprofit. It's a Florida Attendance Campaign for Student Success. It's called FACS, where we're trying to get some movement in the state to define absenteeism and to define chronic absenteeism, to which Orange County Public Schools is not we have a big issue in our county. So I wanted to see it, and I don't know if this is a policy thing, but I wanted to bring it up to the board. But I would love to see some education around absenteeism. Our tagline for ours is every minute, every student. Other used every day counts, every minute counts. But I don't know if maybe we could challenge the students, a part of your advisory council, to come up with some type of educational programming that we could share with other students, just to let them know the importance of being in the seat, what happens when you are. It's a second leading indicator of student outcomes, our attendance. And so when we start talking about literacy rates and other items like that, and it should have been on Pam's list of the things we should be focused on, but that's okay. But we have to focus on attendance, and that starts with educating the parents. And so parents understand what chronic absenteeism is, and it starts with defining what chronic absenteeism is in Orange County, because we don't have a state definition of chronic absenteeism, and we don't have a state definition of what being absent is that's consistent across all 74 districts. So it would be great if we could look into those two things, like, can we define it? Is that something that's defined? We, by the way, have 4 pages on attendance on our website, which is fabulous. It's far better than any others that I found from other districts. But if we could just define chronic absenteeism, and the universal definition is really 10% of the school days. So if we go to school for 180 days, that would be 18, if you miss more than 18 days or 18 periods, that you're chronic absent, and the indicators for that and what that does to our student outcomes is a lot. So I was just wanted to kind of challenge the board to see if where we could take this. Does it need to be policy? What could we do? But at the very least, I really do think we need an education piece to our parents to help them understand why it's so important for their child to be in a seat in a classroom.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
May I?
Superintendent, you're right.
Yes. So we are already addressing our plans for this upcoming school year because of the issue that we have with chronic absenteeism. Part of it includes adding some social workers to our student services team that will actually be going out and making visits for students that have beyond the 60-day absences. And we also have a component there about educating families through the Parent Academy, so we can certainly add this. It fits right in.
Member Gould.
Change of topic. I wanted to publicly thank and celebrate the OCPS team, the many women mentors, and the Generation WOW organization for coming together and having a very inspirational, aspirational, and positive day with over, I think it was about 700 students, sophomores and juniors, and a few seniors sprinkled in. They snuck in, who had been before to the Generation WOW program. And we highlighted some of the most amazing women in our community. And I think that we made some connections. I know that we can do more to connect our young people with great leaders and great citizens who can help them now and for always. One of the things that is always said in that room, you take these phone numbers now and you can call in a year, a day, or 10 years from now, and somebody's going to pick up the phone and talk with you. And to know that you have that kind of a network is so powerful with young people who may not even realize that they have that ability to have a resource like that. So thank you to the team that put that together. Talk about taking a village. It takes a lot of people, and Lake Buena Vista did an amazing job hosting it. And we had the most rockin' DJ at lunch. Oh my gosh. They did just incredible DJ at lunch that highlighted the positive and the powerful. So thank you to everyone for your support of this great tool that gives girls the tools for success in their future.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership in initiating that and staying with it every year. Member Felder.
Thank you. I want to go back to Board Member Gould. I've been having all of these meetings, both Board Member Byrd and I, with our communities, and one of the suggestions about this chronic absenteeism, we always have something to do to punitive, when children are absent. And one of the parents or somebody made a suggestion, it could have been somebody in the district, I don't know, but they said positive things that we could give, like if a kid we know that's chronically absent or skips all the time, we have these little like kind of like play dollars or whatever, and say, you know what, today you went to all of your classes. I know that seems minute, but listen, you went to all of your classes today. Here's a little tiger dollar, and that tiger dollar could be like, you know, a hamburger thing at McDonald's or something. You know, I know it just seems so, you know, wow, but we have to find ways sometimes to not show the negative side when they're bad, but say just when they do it. You know, and I'm sharing this because I had a student who was having some real serious mental issues going on, and she was in my class, and she lived on Lee Road. She missed her bus because she had to do her little sister's hair, and she ran to Edgewater, and by the time she got to Edgewater, she was drenched. And so we had about 15 minutes left in second period, and she said, Miss Felder, she said, I didn't want to miss your class. I didn't want. And this is a kid that was really deep. I just got to say it like that. And I said, honey, it's okay. She said, you want me to go get it? I said, mm-mm. I said, and she was dripping wet. I said, look, let me let you get you a pass, go to the bathroom, wipe yourself. And I said, I didn't want to miss your class. I said, no, and my point is this. She had been a kid who had been chronically absent, but I don't know what it was, something she liked in my class that she needed to get to that class. And sometimes instead of us getting at them because they're not there or because they do something wrong, and I applauded her, and I told her, I said, thank you that you thought enough. So maybe with the chronic absenteeism, I don't know how we can do it, but we can find some ways when the ones that are always absent, if you can come 2 weeks or come all of your classes for this day, all of your classes this whole week, here, you've earned a tiger dollar, a viper dollar. And it gets them something. So that's something I'd like to implement, think about doing it in some of our schools. And then go back to Pam Gould. I was at the WOW. Oh, my God. Dr. Schuler, now I know I had to drop some weight, honey, because I danced for a while. Oh, my God. Ooh, that was the most wonderful experience. I'd never been in anything quite like that, and I just so enjoyed it, and it was such a wonderful thing to happen in the middle of the day, just before school gets out, for students. I'm really happy about OCPS. I know there are a lot of things that we're trying to correct, and I've learned a lot of things about the district since I've been on this board that I wasn't really privy of. As a teacher, maybe I was just too busy teaching and being mad about it, but nevertheless, I miss teaching. I really do. But, there's so much we do. And that was just such a refresher. I just did not expect anything like that. The middle of the day before, and it's not senior week or anything, just in the middle of the day. So I hope that continues with our young people. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So, Member Felder, I'm not going to comment about your dancing. I'm sure it was absolutely wonderful, and I'm sure you dropped pounds. But I was going to comment on, we are very fortunate to have you and Member Kester-Denel, who have both spent years teaching. And your comment about not knowing what you know from this lens is so helpful in bridging the gap. You both have the opportunity to bridge the gap that I can't bridge because I haven't walked in your shoes. And so I hope that we will continue to have you on the board, Member Kester-Denel on the board, and you all will continue to help be that bridge of communication. I do want to bring up something that happened at the last meeting that I chaired before I left for my son's wedding. Member Ferrant, at the pre-agenda meeting, there were a number of comments directed at you. And I heard from a lot of people very upset with me that I did not stop those comments, and they felt that I owed you an apology. And I apologize to you publicly for not stopping them. But I also want to clarify that the meeting started with the language that I read is that you are not supposed to reference the names of individuals or specific positions. Personally, I've always taken that to mean our employees, and I've never felt as an elected official that I could ever tell somebody that they couldn't publicly say something negative about me. My whole time in office, people have said negative things about me, and I felt like that's what's expected of us. But what I struggle with, and I want to just bring to the board's attention, is that if I'm not going to let people say something negative, I can't let people say something positive. So I went back and I listened to the whole pre-agenda meeting twice. And this is going to sound crazy, but there are exactly the same number of people who positively identified you, including your husband at the very beginning, and praised you, either your name or the position, as there were that said negative. There were 4 people that specifically referenced you and praised you, and 4 that criticized you. One of them actually used your name, and I had gavelled him to stop before he used your name. So I apologize to you if I did not pay you the respect that you or your constituents feel you are due. But I need moving forward to find some clarity on this board on how I'm supposed to manage that in the future. Because it's hard to tell somebody you can't say anything nice about us. There was the one person who said something nice about me, and if you remember, she didn't identify me until she was all done and her time was up. She did the same thing and she walked away. So I'm not asking for direction now, but I just think I want everybody to give some thought to this, and then I think as a board we need to figure out what is the right approach.
I just say like 2.
Of course, absolutely.
First of all, thank you very much. I never ever asked you for an apology, so I really appreciate that.
No, you did not.
Yes.
But I've given it a lot of thought, and if I failed you publicly, I owe you a public rather than a private apology.
To be really honest, it doesn't bother me if somebody uses my name. So good or bad, and it is what it is. We're here, we were elected, knocked on 7,000 doors to do this. So I think it's just confusing with the way it's worded. Right. So I think there's people who are feeling, and then if we are allowing some and then not others, and then stopping some and not others.
Yes.
So it's either we just say, if it's an elected official up here and you want to go for it, I mean, whatever. They do it online, they do it in my face. If they do it here, it is what it is. It's part of the job. So for me, it doesn't bother me whether they say something negative or whatever. But then it would just be across the board on elected officials, I guess. But
well,
then
again,
specific teachers or principals.
I don't want any fast decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Fast thinking is, I've often learned, not very good. I think we should slow think this.
Mm-hmm.
So because it needs to be something that the majority of the board feels comfortable with. I do want everybody to think through the ramifications of putting ourselves above criticism publicly. I can't publicly say some of the emails that I've gotten. They're really bad.
Right.
And we all get those. Mm-hmm. But we'll come back. We'll schedule a time to have a conversation on this, but just everybody give it some thought, okay?
You actually have a perfect opportunity
I know.
next week.
We do.
Say during our work
it's
session.
right here in
That's
the Code of Civility.
True, that's exactly
right
what falls in.
Because your Code of Civility only references making disparaging remarks about any individuals. So it doesn't say anything about kudos. So
the script says...
Mm-hmm. That's always been in our script, I think. So
we
that's
ask... that specific names of individuals or specific positions not be referenced.
And usually that's been to protect our employees about things that may not be true or that may not be completely accurate. Yeah. So I think that's something we can discuss next week when we're looking at the Code of Civility.
And I would rather, I just want everybody to think about it rather than putting everybody on the spot when we were not expecting to have this conversation. Okay? But I also wanted to clear my conscience. Thank you. All right. Member Byrd and then Member Ferrand.
Thank you for that, Chair. I appreciate you bringing that up because I had some questions about that too, but we'll talk about that next week. I want to kind of add on to what Member Felder said real quick about, I think she hit on something really key about the student that didn't want to miss her class. I think as we continue to develop all these mental health supports that we're doing within our schools, and also the positive behavior plans at schools, we're really trying to work on culture and environment. I think that makes a huge difference, especially I can tell you personally from being a mom of children that have had anxiety disorders. When they're in classrooms or environments that are negative, or they're in classrooms where there's, a lot going on that's misbehavior and it's distracting and they would get very anxious, and there were days where it was a struggle to get them to go to school. And we've had this conversation before. I've talked to many parents. It's the same thing. It's not that for some kids, it's not that they just don't want to go to school. It's that they seriously struggle with it because of the environment. So I think as we continue to work on all these positive things we're doing with our schools, I think that's a real key piece. And what I think might be interesting too to see is maybe some schools that don't have real high absentee rates, or maybe we all do, maybe they all do, but maybe there are some that seem to be doing something right. Let's try to find out what's going on there. I always think that's a good idea to look at who's doing it right. And then I wanted to just take a minute to talk about one of my favorite subjects, Wekiva Culinary Magnet. I know you guys probably get so sick of hearing me talk about it, but today Dr. Vasquez, and there's some pictures for you. I think Dr. Schuler was there. No, because we ate it all. Excuse me, but I invited all of you, so I don't want to hear any complaining. This was see these walks here in this picture? They got these stations with the walks that fit down into them. They got it through a STEM grant through Duke Energy. And they worked on they did I made a wonton apple dumpling. Oh. Yes. It was so much fun. But anyway, it was the Senior Walk Expo. These were all seniors, and they were they had different cooking stations. They had delicious food. I mean, it was better than, they had orange chicken, Mongolian beef. It was better than any restaurant I've ever been to, as always. In fact, I told Chef Bates that he has to bring those walk stations down here and cook a whole thing for us. So he's agreed to do that. But anyway, it was just a wonderful time, and I have to real quick brag on them because they went to 2 different national competitions this past month. They did the Pro Start competition in Washington, D.C., and out of 18,000 students competing, the team came in 16th. Wow. Nationwide, yeah. Whoa. And then they did the NASA Hunch competition in Houston again, where they tried to develop a recipe to go into space with the astronauts, and they again came in second. Oh. But I talked to this part of I know, it's great, but they wanted to come in first this year. So I talked to them, and they said, that's okay, because we can't take it all. Now the juniors have something they can strive for next year. So, but anyway, it was just wonderful, and I just wanted to thank all the staff that came out. Dr. Schuler was there, Meredith Leftakis was there, and Dr. Williams came. So it was, the mayor of Apopka was there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great.
What some people won't do for food, huh?
That's great.
Oh, wow. It sounds incredible. And and Chef Bates is awesome, and the whole
the best part is just the kids.
I know.
That's what they're so engaged. I mean, they were telling us they were telling me history about the food, and they can tell you the science and how they have to the chicken like melted in your mouth, and it's because the enzymes. You tell them what they tell you.
Right, they marinated them in I forgot some type of water, and it changed the the pH
Yes.
of the. I was like, whoa, this was really
Oh,
impressive.
yeah, they study deep, like all the science of it all, and they're growing their own peppers for their hot sauce, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. All right, Member Ferrant, and then Member Salamanca.
All right, thank you. I wanted to a quick touch on the absenteeism. I was at one of my school visits, so Weingart Elementary, something that they do every week. They go around. I think, Member Felder, you were talking about the little coins or things like that. That's what they do. They go around. I thought it was really cool. They have community partners that partner with them with candy or little treats or different gifts that they'll give. And so if the kids are there all 5 days for the week, they get either a coin or candy or whatnot. So thought that was really cool. I think it's great that it's being brought up. I do want to see, is there a way that we could get data on our like the number of absentees? I don't know if that's too crazy or big. But since 2018, 2019, just to see what it was like before COVID and then after.
Yeah, I think we sent the board something earlier in the year with the comparison, and we can give you another one. I'm just giving you a heads up. It's
takes a
really
while.
not pretty data.
Oh, right. Okay. No, it'd be good just to see kind of what's going on. What's that?
Probably before we joined.
Yeah, probably before we joined. I don't remember seeing it. Anyways, I appreciate that. It'd be interesting just to see what it's like before or after COVID. The other thing I wanted to just touch base on was, I know last meeting we talked about how we're suing the social media companies. I wanted to see if we're doing anything actively right now to help mitigate the issue currently. So instead of just waiting for to see what happens if we sue them and whatnot, are we, I do think if we were to enact some sort of a cell phone policy where kids aren't allowed on the cell phones during the day, that could really help. I know in a lot of the schools, at least in District 3, who have done that, have seen a great deal of their discipline issues diminish. And then another thing, somebody in the community was talking to me this week about at their spouses' work, they actually block any of the social media apps. Do we do that?
So I was just going to say, there's just a bill that we are going to be exploring that because there's a bill that requires us. So we do have some filters in place already, so we can't get on, students can't get on TikTok, things like that on their devices. But we are exploring that as well.
Because I know at some of our schools, even like we saw Howard, they're getting on TikTok, that type of thing. So just if we can, that'd be awesome. So that's good news. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Member Salamanca? No? Yes? You were here and you're gone.
Okay, yes. One quick no. I've had a couple of community members tell me that the YouTube channel that does this live, that we don't have auto translate enabled on our YouTube. So if like, you're trying to listen to it with captions in Spanish, it's not on. So it's a quick fix on YouTube. YouTube does it for us. We just have to enable it on our account.
All right. I see Mr. Howitt in the back.
I'm bringing up them just in case.
Like, I'm
my
not
mom
sure
wants
face.
to see me on TV, so Spanish.
Come on now. That's good.
I'm just kidding, but no, really, other people have brought it up, not just my mom.
I know there was a level of we had to have a certain number of people following us in order for us to have it. I thought.
Yeah, so it auto-generates captions.
Yes,
but then you can
exactly.
also enable different languages.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it might be an account thing, so something to look into.
Okay, definitely something to look into.
Thank
All
you.
right. Anything else?
I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I guess, Board Member Byrd, I guess you and I both have these schools in Cook. But I just talked with the superintendent, and my little school, Millennium Gardens, they have an eco system where they grow vegetables. So about a week ago, they invited me to dinner from the vegetables that they prepare, the tomatoes, and they grow strawberries. So I guess we'll have to just get together. That's right, a little cook-off. These are the little ones, and yes, and enjoy their cooking. But I was so proud of Millennium Garden. It was just wonderful what the little children are doing and growing the vegetables and learning how to eat correctly. So I wish it was 20 years ago I'd met them, but nevertheless. So I wanted to talk about them, give them a shout. I'm so proud of them. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. If there's nothing further, then this meeting is now adjourned.